I will say this ad, though, has obviously started quite a conversation. I want to welcome PETA's Senior International Media Director, Ben Williamson. And, you know, Ben, this obviously elicited quite a reaction from the audience. And a lot of people would look at that and say, well, wait, that is, come on now. But tell us from your perspective the whole point of the ad and why you guys aired it.
Sure. Well, PETA is a vegan advocacy organization. Our role is to find new ways to spread the very simple idea that animals are not ours to eat. And when you compare the controversial ad with the actual treatment of chickens in the meat industry, you know, they're shackled upside down, they're dragged through a water bath, electrified water bath, their throats are slit, and they go into scalding hot water when they're still alive sometimes. You know, what messaging, what kind of viral video could be too far?
But get back to the penis.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I mean, there are so many people who have such strong feelings about PETA from a health standpoint or an animal cruelty standpoint. What went into this decision? Was it, because I guess some could consider it in terms of a marketing campaign to be fear-mongering of some sort, but from your standpoint, I mean, it's an effective ad, but
Sure.
what was the thought?
Sure, well, you don't have to take our word for it. The research is solid science. That's universities of Texas and Michigan schools of public health. They measured the level of a chemical called mono-2-ethyl hexyl phthalates, or MEHP for short. And this phthalate has been known to cause stunted development. And they found that this chemical is very common in chicken and, interestingly, eggs. As the video showed, this chemical is usually used to soften plastic, so it's found in PVCs, paints, pesticides. But interestingly, because it's found in eggs as well as chickens, we think that the phthalate is something that's inherent in chickens themselves.
And you know, the one thing I will say, we've talked many times on the show about phthalates before, and obviously we are big-time proponents of reducing our exposure to any chemicals that can be related to hormonal changes that are carcinogenic. And I do know one of the studies that you all referenced is a 2008 NIH report, which didn't show an explicit link.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear between chickens and penis size, but it did look at 106 boys and found that there was potentially a small link between mom's phthalate exposure and penis size. Now, as far as a direct study out there that says eating more chicken, small penis size, I haven't seen that, so I'm not aware of that.
I mean, I think that that study is important, and it's an important consideration for someone who wants to take that direction. And us as physicians, and I'm, you know, finishing a 3-year master's program in nutrition at Columbia University, and I will tell you, in 3 years, I have not seen a single nutritional science study that I can recall that shows 100% causative correlation between any food exposure and any health outcome. That's the problem and the complex issue in nutritional science and medicine.
Sure.
So I think it's important awareness, but and I do think it's a very interesting campaign, but I also think we're not there yet with nutritional science that we can always say this one food, no other factor came into play here, because phthalates are all over our environment. This one food caused this one outcome.
Well, and incidentally, we're also very open-minded here on the Doctors, talking about, oftentimes I will talk about, you know, if you're talking about consumption of meat, in this case we're talking about chickens, it's also very important to think about how were those chickens raised and what was their environment. From a purely health standpoint, I've been very open about saying that, look, if you're gonna eat eggs, for instance, if they come from free range, you know, that's healthier composition and it's better for the animals. I mean, there's a lot at play here, and I have to give you all credit for opening up an incredibly complex conversation. You know, you always do need to know where the food you're eating comes from. But again, it's you know, it's a complex subject. I want to thank you, Ben, for coming and joining us. And I think regardless of the lesson, you mentioned it is, we do have to be aware of the chemicals that mothers are exposed to when they have a child in utero. You got to be aware of all that stuff.
So we don't have to worry about shrinkage with chicken now. I mean, this is
You know what
during
it is,
development.
Drew? I think I speak for many women out there where I'll say it's not just about the size, it's how you use it.
Okay.
I think what she's saying is don't be chicken to use it however. No, I'm kidding.